I gotta get cleaned up to do a knife video today. I've been tagged by Mike Treen to do a knife video on fixed blade full tang knives. I don't know why people tag me in knife videos. I don't really use the knife that much. But if they want a knife video they will get. A few splashes of Aqua Velva, or was it Skin Bracer? I think it was Aqua Velva. A few splashes and I feel fresh shaven and ready to go. Alright, here's the deal. There's a video series going around, and basically it is your three favorite fixed blade full tang knives. So let's describe what a fixed blade full tang knife is. Fixed blade means it doesn't fold, so we're talking about a knife you would typically carry in a sheath. Full tang, that's not what the astronauts drink. The tang is the part that attaches to the handle. To have a full tang means that what the blade or the file or whatever it is you have out here goes all the way through the handle and has a full carry. Some knives stop here and they just stick into a wood or deer horn or whatever. So full tang gives you balance, gives you a little wood weight or metal weight in the back, and it also gives you stability and strength because it'll never wear out and the blade pull out of the handle. So we're going to talk about fixed blade full tang knives, and the first one that I want to talk about, I have three, that's what it required. The first one I want to talk about is the Western USA W82 stainless. This little knife here is not a really expensive knife, but it has been a really good knife, and it has some great sentimental value to me. I graduated high school in 1993, and I was given this as a graduation present by a man named Danny Burton, who's a very good friend of mine, and he's passed on since then. And he meant a lot to me, and he gave me this knife, and he said, "I think it'll make a great skinner." And that's exactly what I've used it for. Because of the short tip, I don't like long bladed knives. I'm not a sword fighter. And so having a little knife where I can get in there and unzip a deer or something like that is perfect. This has a laminated wood handle. It had a full sheath, but here's the story that makes this knife even better. I was skinning a deer in the backyard, and I was carrying everything. The only tree I have that with low branches is a cherry tree, so I was carrying everything from this side of my house around the back to the garage on that side, and I had saw and a bunch of other stuff, and at some point in that walk through there, I dropped this knife in the case. I looked for it, and I thought maybe I had left it in the woods, and I was like, no, when I gutted the deer, I'm like, no, I know I used it skinning. I walked back and forth through the yard. I couldn't find it. Of course, it was wintertime or fall. There were leaves everywhere. I just thought it was gone forever. I'm mowing the yard in the spring, no joke, and I run over the top of this, and the case went up about halfway up the handle of the sheath. I just cut off the part of the sheath that covered the handle. The knife was still in the sheath. When I made my next pass around the yard, I just happened to look over and went, "There's that knife Danny gave me," and I jumped off the lawnmower. And it didn't rust. I think it's 440 stainless, which I happen to like for knife blades. It didn't rust. It still looked good. The wood had weathered some. And you can kind of see right there where the color changes a little bit. I think it was laying like that. So Danny's gone. I still got the knife he gave me for graduation. I still use it a lot. It holds a great edge. Good knife. Western. I think they still make these. Second knife. No, it's not a buck, but the sheath wore out on it, so we got this knife. This knife is special to me for two reasons. Number one, it belonged to my dad. My dad bought this back in the 60s when he started hunting in Colorado. And he wanted a well-made knife that was big enough to skin big game. And he was hunting elk and mule deer. And so he bought a Puma Hunter's Friend. Now, if you don't know anything about high quality knives, you probably don't know anything about this knife. There is no stamping. It doesn't say Puma Hunter's Friend. It doesn't say anything. But if you know anything about Puma knives, you quickly recognize the shape and the drop point the little ribbed top, the stag antler handle. This is not deer horn, this is staghorn. This knife is made in Germany by Puma, and this one was probably made in the 60s. Now, I looked it up just before I got on here. My dad was going to get rid of it because he didn't use it anymore, and I said, don't get rid of it. I said, man, give it to me. If you're just going to sell it for chicken feed, what do you want for it? He said, oh, you can have it. I looked this thing up, and this knife, this vintage knife in this shape, even with a little pitting and some wear, even without the original sheath, this thing still regularly sells for around 120 bucks. And it's just because they were well-made knives, and Puma is a great knife company. So I'll just leave that out. All right, the Puma Hunter's Friend, my second favorite fixed blade full tang knife. Okay, number one favorite knife, and number one for a number of reasons. This knife here, I picked out the design. I helped make this knife. I pastor one of the best churches, if not the best church in America. And that's just because I'm biased, because they love me and I love them. But one of the men in our church named Bob Devers is a knife maker. When he started going to our church, he was kind of wanting to spend some time with me and visit and get to know me, and I get to know him. So he said, why don't you come over to my house and we'll make you a knife? I was like, yeah, I'd like to do that. So he's like, what kind of knife do you want? You know, do you want a big sword fighting knife? I call that a sword fighting knife, but it's not. I said, no, I like little skinny blade knives like this. So he gave me a number of patterns to look at, and this is what I picked. He calls it his Skinner. You get the overall profile there. It's got a very thick blade, but it's short blade and it's pointed. And this knife is small. The handle's small. It's fat. The handle is actually deer horn off a dead buck I found in Texas about 15 years ago when I was hunting down there. It was a dead 10-point, and I found the skull, and I brought it back, and it's laid around in the garage for years, and finally we cut a little bit off each base. And so that's deer horn that we've ground down. This knife is made out of 440 stainless. I probably should have cleaned it up a little. It's still got some blood on it from something. Anyways, Bob did all the work. I held the short end of the tape measure. You know what I mean? I polished on it and kind of shined it, but Bob did all the really important stuff. And if you notice on the handle, I don't know if you can see it from there, but it's kind of got a vine pattern or a thorn pattern going down the ridge of the knife. And I never carry a knife on my hip. Well, I'm a fat guy, you know. You'll cut your saddlebags off. You try to draw a knife off your hip, you're a fat guy. So when I asked for a holster, I said, I don't want a belt loop. I just want something I can put it in, because when I go hunting, I take a bag. So now I've got a sheath that covers the blade, and I just throw it in the bag. And that works really, really good for me. And so I like that. It's kind of a minimalist. Anyways, Bob made the sheath. I helped him make the knife. I held the dumb end of the tape measure, did the basic stuff. This knife means a lot to me because I had a hand in it. It fits my hand. It's small. It's fat. It's perfect for skinning. And so I like it. There's my three fixed blade, full tang. What am I doing? There's my three fixed blade full tang knives. Now I'll bring you over here and give you a close-up of them, and I'll tag 3 people to show us their full tang fixed blade knives. Champ, you and Brownie go lay down on the couch. On your pillow, not the couch. Brownie, go lay down. Go lay down. Okay, give you a close-up look at the Western knife. I don't know if you can see that. Focus. Western USA. That's the one Danny gave me. Very, very good knife. It's held a good edge. Here's the Puma and all of its wear and glory. You can kind of see some pitting on it. No markings. You just have to know what it is, and people who know what it is can appreciate it. Here's the Devers Skinner, my favorite and most used knife. This and probably the Western. Anyways, I skinned all my deer last year with this one. And you can see the deer horn handle. Bob Devers, BD stamp on it. And there's that thorn pattern. Oh, I forgot. I got to tag somebody, don't I? Alright, I'm going to pick 3 channels, as I was one of 3 that was tagged. The first one I'm going to pick is Wallace Vivian's Adventures. And if you've never watched his channel, he's up in the coastal region of Canada. I think it's Newfoundland. I may be wrong. He may get mad at me. Anyways, he's somewhere up there like Nova Scotia type area. And he's got a lot of really cool stuff. I know he's got a lot of knives because he does leather work. He traps. He kills moose. Got a great channel. Anyways, go check out him. I tag him. If he's already done it, then hey, he already done it. Calvin's Corner 72. I know you got a lot of knives. Occasionally you watch some of my videos. I watch a lot of yours. If you see this, show us your best or favorite full tang knives. And lastly, keeping it Dutch. Old Dutch lives across the border from me in Oklahoma. He does about 3 or 4 videos a week, sometimes 5 or 6 a week. And he needs a channel idea, a video idea anyway. So Dutch, if you're watching, pull out 3 full tang fixed blade knives and tell us what you like, and that'll be a good idea for you. So thank y'all for watching. I'm going to go doctor these nicks and cuts on my face, and I'll see you on the next one. Probably be fishing or gardening. That's all I'm really thinking about this time of year. So, see ya.